you doing?
We're going to untie it and get ready to set her up, put her up.
What's her?
Well, the cat.
When Chris Sprafera began his work, he was being eyed closely from across the parking lot.
I want to see the cat first. I may not like it. Is that where the cat is? The cat on the
yes, on the truck.
On the truck.
Theodore Geisel has a special interest in the cat. He created it. Geisel is, after all, also known as Dr. Seuss. For the first time in his 60-year career, Geisel has decided to let someone mount a retrospective of his work.
It's an honor to you.
Yep. Certainly is.
They say that lots and lots of people are going to come. They say lots.
We'll see. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't.
Modest for a man whose 45 books have sold more than 100 million copies in close to 20 languages. Books with characters that didn't exist before Dr. Seuss created them. Characters with a humanity and a humor that have made children for the past 50 years demand of their parents nightly, read it again.
I've completely forgotten about these.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they're wonderful.
The curator of the show, Mary Stofflet, chose the 300 drawings and illustrations from Geisel's private collection and 2 other collections. The show covers his initial career in advertising, his trip through the world of political cartoons, but it focuses on the books he began writing close to 50 years ago. Books he says he wrote not for children, but for people.
Why is humor so important? Without humor, we'd have nothing, I don't think.
How did he come up with characters like a Grinch, a Preep, a Prue, or a Nurgle? He says he doesn't know. He has said, though, that writing for kids is murder. He seems to have revised that, though.
Any kind of writing is murder, if you do it properly.
Geisel turned 82 this year. That's quite likely why he decided to allow the museum in the town he's called home for many years mount this show. But there are other indications that Dr. Seuss is feeling the flight of time.
Dr. Seuss has been branching out. His latest book is called You're Only Old Once. The dedication reads, with affection for and afflictions with the members of the class of 1925. Is this book for children? Well, on the back it says, you buy a copy for your child now, and you give it to him on his 70th birthday.
Previously, when I did just kids' books, I would be invited every morning to go to have cocoa among the kindergarten set. Now I get invited to have martinis at old folks' homes.
Where would you rather be?
Somewhere in between, I don't know where.
While kids and older kids come to pay tribute to the cat's master, the Cat in the Hat will be keeping an eye on things. Lorraine Kimmel, News 8, Balboa Park.
What is up, AKA Patters? Guys, Dr. Seuss, Ted Geisel, the Cat in the Hat. You know, I have to say this, and I don't care. Sometimes I don't care about this channel. I just want to say what I want to say. I absolutely love the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat movie. That movie literally makes me pee myself every time I watch it. And come on, Jim Carrey, The Grinch, it's so quotable. Why did they stop with those live-action Dr. Seuss films? I have no idea. We look at Dr. Seuss right now as he's an institution. It's an idea. It's theme parks. It's merchandise. It's animated films. It's live-action. It's musicals. Seussical, the musical, Rosie O'Donnell, I believe, portrayed the Cat in the Hat. But we're going to go back to a very simpler time. We're going to go back to when he passed, because that's how Dr. Seuss ended up on my radar. That's how I became aware of Dr. Seuss. My grandparents would watch all the local news like all day, even though it was on like 3 or 4 times a day, but then all the national news. So when Dr. Seuss passed, and I spent a lot of time with him when I was younger, I saw a Dr. Seuss has moved on to the ether. I saw it about 30 times. And then I remember his name was Mr. Mayer. That was one of my art teachers in public school. He pretty much did like an introduction of Dr. Seuss and showed you like what some of his cross-hatching techniques were and all this other stuff. it's relatively where I learned about cross-hatching was this entire arc. And then we get into, we get into me driving, we get into adulthood, we get into the rise of Borders and Barnes & Noble. And I remember I was with my mother in one of these bookstores, and there was a Dr. Seuss biography. And I bought it. It was like it was like outside of reading Comics Journal, Wizard Magazine. It was like the first time I selected to learn about an artist's life, or an illustrator's life, and just get more of an idea. So, I thought today, let me show you what my Dr. Seuss stack is, because very recently, I just purchased, I got these in one of my local bookstores. I try and stockpile the ones that they pulled off the market for obvious reasons, and I was able to score 2 of them, and it pretty much kicked in this idea is, like, I should own the entire Dr. Seuss stack. None of them are unattainable outside of the ones that they pulled off the market, and pricing for those has drastically dropped. A lot of my brushwork, a lot of my openness and form is inspired by Dr. Seuss, because these books were great when you were younger. They're predominantly black and white, they're all brush, and you actually see the materials at work. And that's all you need. You don't need an artist edition. You don't need to spend $300 for a giant book and see the original one-to-one size stuff. You just need to see, what the technique is, and then you have to try and replicate it. So guys, for presentation Saturday, let's hit that drawing table. It is time for some Dr. Seuss. Way overdue. Cheers, aka Patters. Good morning. Get yourself some coffee. And say hello to our mascots, our boy Crypt and our boy Pike. We do a lot of 90s comics on this channel. We do almost all 90s comics. My library has been through a couple iterations. I've sold off chunks later to repurchase those chunks, so on and so forth. I don't like lending books. I don't like selling books. This book here, Judith and Neil Morgan. Look, Walter Cronkite, Chuck Jones, Charles Schultz. I've had this in my collection, in my library, since the day I bought it. And I absolutely loved reading this. This is one of the first times I just got to see the life of a commercial illustrator. And it was very eye-opening. I don't know if this was like an error, but see how uneven the pages are? I love it. I don't know. I never even looked up to see if this got reprinted or anything, because I would just pick it up and read. I just never had any. I don't even know if this is in print or not. I don't know the availability, but I cannot recommend this book enough. The other children's book we're going to go through today is The Toe Coughs as the Plows the Dough. What? I don't know. We can't even say this. Dr. Seuss. Early writings and cartoons by Dr. Seuss. This is absolutely incredible, and it does intersect. It's a cross-section with the biography that I just showed you. We see the shades of Dr. Seuss's characters. We see his fur. We see his overall design sense. This book is invaluable if you really want to understand the path of Ted Geisel, aka Dr. Seuss. Let's try that again. The tough coughs as the plows the dough. The tough coughs, the toe coughs as he plows the dough. Maybe, who knows? I love it. Guys, I love butchering Dr. Seuss. I think that's part of the fun of it. Here we have scrambled eggs, super, and on Beyond Zebra. I recently just purchased these. These are in fantastic condition. This is what I mean. Look at the fur. The technique is there. You can look at this and be like, oh, he's just scribbling. But not really, because look how more congested and condensed we have the fur and the rings of it along the neck, and how more and more wide open it gets. Meaning, this could be a little bit tougher, like if you grabbed it, right? Like the fur could be a little bit more spiky, but then a little bit more, again, like the underbelly of a dog or a cat or Dallas. It's soft and fluffy here. I don't know, like he's really good with techniques. Like even this one, like has kind of like a plaid pattern. I think for anyone out there that really wants to see black and white artwork, you have to get into Dr. Seuss. And this is what we mean about his design sense. How does this not get your rocks off? How? And how do we have a generation of illustrators right now? I guess maybe this is banned. It doesn't like the Eskimos. It's hard to figure out. Or this guy. Like, here, let's pull it off the market. We drew this guy. It's beyond me that more Dr. Seuss has not resonated. It really is, aka Patters. It's such a mind-bending scenario. I mean, look at the texture for the tree bark here. On Beyond Zebra. I buy them new, used, if they're beat up. If I don't have it, I recently just started keeping a list in my phone. This one got pulled off the market too. Maybe like it's hard again. Like where's the offensiveness to pull these off the market? It's really hard to spot them. But like again, look at the design sense, and I like the minimum colors. I just think, holy crap, do they work? I mean, even this one, just the different ways we're going to illustrate a chalkboard, because that's really what they're on. Really powerful stuff, but it's really shocking to me that Dr. Seuss has not completely resonated today. People just want his, and this one's from, like, what edition is this? It's hard to see. This is the 1956 edition of If I Ran the Circus. So, like I said, I'll buy them. I don't care what they have in them, like as of how they're held together or how well they're held together. If they're bound, I'll pick it up. But I just recently started keeping a list of my Dr. Seuss inventory on my phone. So when I'm out and about, I can kind of like not repeat, but I don't mind repeating these. Should this be pulled from the market? I don't know if this, maybe this one is pulled from the market. I thought I had 3 or 4 of them. There are 6. So, like, I do have 2 Beyond Zebras. Thadwick, the big-hearted moose. There's some of these with pencil. He did do one adult book that had, like, naked figures in it. But I love the charcoal. Like, even this. Like, see the clouds? Really cool stuff here, guys. And there is something to the paper quality. The further you go back, like again, design sense. The further you go back, the better the pages are. Oh, this is great. Look at the technique for the hunting gear. What a wild book. And we have Yertle, the turtle. This is one of my favorites. I believe, like, did Yertle get animated? Let me know in the comments, aka Powders. I forget if Yordle got anime. And look at the different shells. Look, the checkered shell. Look, the tortoisey shell. Then we have Gertrude McFuzz. And again, too, like, if you're young and you see stuff like this, and you know it's mostly brush, and I believe he used brush, and I think he used a pen similar to this. It's of note, like, you study this, like, you keep this open on your drawing table. Then we have the 500 hats. And look, so isn't it funny? Dr. Seuss has gone through 90s gimmicks. I don't care. I like the gimmicks. I'll buy them. This is one of the few colored ones. Like, colored in this style. Which is kind of like a golden book, but not really. Just like, whenever there's like a fuzzy edge, I always think of golden books. Because, like, that's what, like, some of the covers were at one time. We got double Lorax, and I get right. Who was it? You, Cliff, out there? You made fun of how I said the Lorax one video, the Warax. Or oh wait, or maybe you were making a different reference. The Lorax is just there. The colors pop. The straight up ideas. This is one of the all-time efforts from the Seuss library. The Places You'll Go. This, I believe, right, if I just go through memory, this might have been his last one. And this is often given to graduates now. This is a coming of age gift. And look at that. It's hard to spot the fall off because his techniques there. You guys all know how the Grinch Stole Christmas. There's like a holofoil one of these. I think it's like green foil. I always look for that one. I don't care. I want it. Like, people kind of forget that the Grinch really wasn't designed the way we remember him, because we've seen so many different animations and even toys, and you go to CVS now, there's a whole Grinch section every December. Like, we've seen so many different interpretations of the Grinch, we forget the original. And dare I say, he nailed it with the cover. Yeah, like, the cover's close enough to what so when we see this on the bookshelf, a little different on the inside. And here we go. I think this, right, the first one, I think I saw it on Mulberry Street. Right, this got pulled off the market. Isn't it crazy? Dr. Seuss's very first book, his first effort is, like, pulled off the market. But I think it's this. They ain't like this guy. They don't like, look, more Eskimos. They don't like the Asian. Like, any ethnic portrayal, they just were like, no, which is so weird, because, like, how is this not a celebration? How is it not a celebration? Like, this guy, maybe they didn't like him. So these, I call these, right, the full-size ones, and then we have the baby ones, right? So the baby ones, not just published by Seuss, but not Dr. Seuss. This is P.D. Eastman. I still get these ones. I always, and I know we're not talking about Dr. Seuss, but I always just liked the coloring, how it was like off the line just a little. Go Dog Go. Again, often confused with Dr. Seuss, but not Dr. Seuss. We have multiple Cat in the Hats. We have a first edition here. This is first edition Cat in the Hat. How amazing is that? And of the smaller books, right, Cat in the Hat's really the one that's resonated. Green Eggs and Ham. but then that's about it. The Cat in the Hat comes back. We have a sequel. I mean, again, too, like, you just stare at the line work. This is where I learned about cross-hatching. Green eggs. We all know green eggs. Again, cartoon. If you go to Universal Florida, this was part of the Islands of Adventure. And they had like a green egg section there. I think you could, there was like a cafe called Green Eggs. In Philly, we have a Green Eggs brunch spot that is insanely packed. They have the best red velvet pancakes ever. They're always packed, but you have to, if you're ever in Philly, you have to go to Green Eggs. Dr. Seuss, one fish, two fish, red fish, a blue fish. Again, and here too, like, see how, like, this technique here, you see this in a lot of European line work. Just the way that they draw clouds. Oh, the things you can think. How do you not love it? How do you not love the color? I don't care what age you are. If you flip through a Dr. Seuss, I mean, look at the texture here. And the dead vines. Or the vines just like growing out of the cracks. I don't care what age you are. If you don't get a smile looking at Dr. Seuss. Like, wow. Soak that in. How does Dr. Seuss not put a smile on your face? Amazing. I don't have enough of them, aka powders. I really do need a full Dr. Seuss stack. I wish I had more to show off.